I'm really excited to be here. I am absolutely delighted. It's a great honor to be here. This is a big thing for me. I have done lots of things. I've won a few awards. We're also writing a book. We spent, my partner and I, a guy called Martin Ruckert, who a lot of the pictures that you're going to see, him and I have spent the last 2 years thinking about this, and we presented this at Agile Australia, and it was one of the presentations that got Thought Leadership awards. So I'm extremely proud, and I'm extremely proud to bring this presentation here because I think this is one of the most extraordinary areas that no one seems to be talking about. And we need to talk about it. And I'll tell you why. I grew up in Scotland. I was a cheer in the front. I grew up in Scotland. And when I was a small boy, and I would be playing out in the hills, my mother used to tell me that there used to be a dragon in the hills. And this dragon, with a flick and a swish of his tail, would sweep in, and he would pick up naughty boys and naughty girls. This is way before Game of Thrones. So if I was in the valleys and I was with my friends and we were playing cricket and I see my ball fly through the air and smash a window, ouch, I'd have one weary eye looking up the hill to see if the Banshee, which was the name of the dragon, would be sweeping down to pick me up. Life goes on. And now I'm running big projects. And we've got big deadlines. And there's a lot of pressure around us. So how come I have that same fear and that flutter in my chest and that same weary eye that looks at the door to see if governance is about to come through the door? Because I know with a swish of their pen, they can stop my project. How did we reach this situation? This is the bridge of time. This is us. We need to cross the bridge. As quicker that we cross the bridge from my idea, the quicker I get a return on my investment. The quicker I get an efficiency gain. Something that took 10 hours now takes 10 minutes. The quicker I get return on investment, the quicker I get my product to market, the quicker I get a return, I get my sale. The quicker I get the opportunity to actually understand and keep the lights on. But guess what? If we go too fast, boom. If I make a mistake today, and I take my product to market, and it doesn't work, what happens? Twitter, Facebook, oh, they're terrible. They don't know what they're doing. The product is rubbish. Oh my word. So I have to realize that the consequences of failure are enormous. The press will reach out. They'll tell you things, thermostats that don't work, leaving thousands in the cold, IT shelves bare because because of a software glitch. The Australian Bureau of Statistics failed. It collapsed during the election because of failure. They didn't do the testing. Companies falling apart. You all have governance, don't you? In some capacity. Generally, the bigger the company, the bigger the governance. And the longer that we fail, the more often that we fail, the bigger that governance is. So what is it? What makes you scared? Well, it can be audit. They can be compliance. It can be testing. It can be risk. It can be finance. It can be architecture. And I'm pretty sure that you could probably add a few more names up there as well. People who want a bit of your project. But governance is important. It acts like the goalkeeper. It's that last line of defense as it's coming through. It stops you from making that mistake. But guess what? For the last 20 years, we have been making a lot of mistakes. Projects have been under the Dorsey. They came up and they did a survey of over 20,000 projects, and between 50 and 80% failed. Wow. Wow. And then we had a choice. And some of you are wearing your winter plumage of grey like I am. Remember these days. And what happened is that we had Waterfall. And it was like, is it Waterfall's fault that this thing is failing? Or is it because we don't have enough governance? And guess what they decided? We don't have enough governance. So this thing happened. They decided that plan A, in other words, I want this document signed off, I want these artifacts, I want this meeting to take place. Suddenly plan A didn't work. But so we have plan B, which is just more of plan A. It's the same thing, but more of it. More artifacts, more meetings. We only meet every 4 weeks. This is a genuine slide. Oh my word. I want to take my project over that bridge because the quicker I get into production, the quicker I get it to market, the quicker I get my return. Does anyone remember this? Prince. Did anyone's heart just went cold there? Oh, God. You want me to do this? Good heavens, 2009. It's not that far away. So what happened? The towers of governance built. Has anyone got a tower of governance? Have they got an audit team? They've got a fraud team. They've got a testing team. They've got an architecture team. They've got marketing. They've got legal, etc., etc., etc. And now suddenly I've got to weave my way through these paths, these towers that have been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Stu, the slides were really good up to this point, and they've seemed to have gone down a level in quality. That's because my partner was actually writing this. I did these ones. He did the other ones. And I wrote this because I wanted everyone to realize, look at Waterfall. This is what it wants. It's like, I want a business requirements document. Here's a great big business requirements document. I need this signed off. Here's signed off. But things have changed. It's less risk mitigation, but artifact generation. In other words, it gives you the feeling of security. The more artifacts I have, the more comfortable I am. Oh my word, how did we reach that situation? That's Jim Highsmith, who's a thinker and a thought leader. We're now in this stage. We do sprints. I'm looking for a potentially shippable product. I might be looking to take that product every 2 weeks. We had speakers earlier that people like Flickr and Amazon go into production every 14 seconds. 14 seconds. Rapid agility, rapid ability to get your product to market. It's the core. So what's the problem? The problem is that these towers that I have built over many, many years are not ready for me. They still want that artifact. They still want me to attend that meeting, and they still want me to have those signatures in place. I'm not built like that. So I asked the teams, how does it feel? And they said, it feels like this. Everybody wants a piece of me. So you are agile, you are thought leaders, you are leaders. And our people and our teams feel like this. I'm sure we've got Scrum Masters in the room. Your job is to do what? protect the team, and yet you've got this. Oh my God, governance. I've got a friend called Peter Thomas, and he tells me a story that when we were speaking 3 years ago, he said they were going to go into production, and it was like this. Everybody cancel your leave. You're in on the weekend. We will order pizza. We'll order Coke. We better call the police because it might get a bit hairy. And then come Monday morning, everyone's got their fingers crossed, haven't they? Hoping it's going to work. It feels like this. We have had a huge change. The towers of governance used to equal big waterfall projects. They wanted a big governance structure. Just to help you, HSBC, 1 in 10 people work in governance. 1 in 10. But the new world is agile. And therefore, I cannot survive like this. When we were talking, we spoke to NASA. And we said to NASA, how do you feel? And how do you cope with this? And they said, the shift provides unique challenges in the area of IT governance and IT oversight. It's like this. For all the right reasons for which they were built, IT governance teams are no longer just keeping companies safe. They are, by hindering delivery, also putting them at risk. We have to change. We have to change. So how am I going to change my governance? That's quite scary, isn't it? Because that's my goalkeeper. But I need to change. And I need to simplify. But it's pretty complicated. And I'm a bit worried. Change my governance? You're crazy. You're mad. So something needs to happen. Something needs to happen in order for me to make that change. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's beginning. It's happening. It's the disruptors. It worked the first time in Oh My God Governance, so I thought I'd use it again. The disruptors are coming. Are you all familiar with fintechs? Small companies, startups, 20 people, ready to go. There's ad techs, there's health techs, there's retail techs. I can almost promise you that there's some kind of small company that is coming after you right now. I promise you. Jeff Bezos says, your margin, in other words, your profits, are my opportunity. And guess what? I'm smelling a lot of opportunity in this room. To give you an example, since the beginning of the year, over 1,000 fintechs have started up. 1,000. And they're after this. Look at where their institutional investments, financial research, banking infrastructure, remittances, equity finance. Wherever there is a margin, I'm going to be coming after you. Amazon has changed the world, the way we do retail, hasn't it? Amazon's about to come to Australia, and the Australian market is so scared. They can see it coming over the horizon. The margins and profits of disruptors are phenomenal. They can start up quickly, and they can get action quickly. I was at an Agile conference on governance in Amsterdam in 2014. Yes, it does exist. And someone stood up and they said, this is 3 years ago. They said, it took us to make a change. There was a rate of interest rates change. It took us 3 months to get all the documentation, to update our website, to train all our people. It took our competitors 3 hours. Wow. Okay. They get over the bridge quicker. competitive advantage gained. I'm now beginning to kill my customers, kill my competition, I should say. The size of the market is 24%. That's PwC. I'll repeat that figure, 24%. That is how much of your margin they are after, of your profits that they are after. And here's the worrying thing. Just like fish cannot see water, fish cannot see water. Sometimes our companies cannot see the fog of governance that we have built up. Sometimes we can only see a little part of the carpet rather than the whole carpet pattern. We need to change, or we might die. There's the cupboard is full of... Have you heard of a boiling a frog? Has anyone heard of a boiling the frog? You take a frog of water, if you take some water, you throw a frog in, it will jump out. If you put a frog in a little bowl and you just put the heat up slowly, the water boils up, and guess what? The frog goes, oh yes, that's okay, I don't mind that. Yes, that's okay. And the frog dies. The frog could have moved at any point, and the frog dies. Kodak, Blockbuster, Nokia, they sat in the bowl for too long. The revolution begins, because now I have to change. I have to change, because if I do not change, the disruptors, the small fintechs, the small companies are coming after me. So what do I need to do? First of all, I need all of you to go back and be aware of the water that you're swimming in. I need you to be able to understand where we sit. I will take you through, I'm going to give you, I haven't got time to go through it all, but I'll give you a few quick ideas of how to do the cookbook of governance. The first is stop this. Stop this being, I need to take my product to market, these are my towers that I have to answer, and I have to produce this document, that document, until I can get it to market. And really stop this. I do a lot of work and I consult with a lot of companies, and I see this a lot. I'm calling it, and by the way, it's a Stu Mitchell copyrighted word, an Agile Tax. We're taxing our companies for the privilege of being agile. If you want to work in this company and you want to do agile, then I want a business requirements document. I want a Gantt chart. I want you to do you recognize some of these? I want you to attend these meetings, and I want you to make sure that you're doing all these things. It's an agile tax on top of trying to do my daily job. It's like this. We're agile. We're Scrum. We're like Ferraris. We're like Porsches, Lamborghinis. We're ready to go. And I can't go. Come on, let me go. No, you've got to go through this. You've got to do all these things. Please let me go. This is what we need to start doing. You need to think, and I know I'm taking you up to another level now in your mind, but we need to start thinking that you build governance in. It's baked in. Have you heard of go left, shift left? Go in early. Your governance is part of what you're building. It's part of your definition of done. You include it. You don't ignore it. It's part of your project's DNA. It becomes part of your team. DevOps. Are you all familiar with DevOps? Okay, so if you're not familiar with DevOps, get involved with DevOps. I've got teams now running that are doing equivalent of 140 man-days worth of testing in 20 minutes every time they do a build, and we do 3 builds a day. That gives you security. It gives you peace of mind, and it allows you to cross the bridge with a degree of confidence. Have empathy. Do you know empathy? In other words, have feelings for your bosses. Because guess what? The guys in 1987 are your children of today, as it were. But they are the leaders of tomorrow. And what I grew up in 1987 was Waterfall. And I quite like Waterfall, because that's what I grew up with. And there's an English expression called the devil you know. And I know that devil well, the good side and the bad side. So have empathy for your bosses. Build up trust to make sure that we start it, because in the Wild West, and I think some of you have been doing this for a few years now, in the early days, we weren't very good, were we? No documentation, just get it in. It's agile. We'll make it happen. Make sure your governance engagement is appropriate, like Goldilocks. Not too much, and everything stops. Not too little, until it's chaos. Agile teams, that making sure that it's safe to fail. How do you experiment? How do we allow our teams to fail? How do we allow our teams to say, it's okay, you can not produce that. You can make a wrong turning. We need to be able to generate that atmosphere. We forget the single biggest reason why Agile existed was what? You tell me. Was it to get over the bridge faster? Was it to give you a job? The reason was to reduce risk. That was the sole purpose. To inspect and adapt, small circles. Is this what my customer wants? The quicker I can get my product to my customer, the quicker I can get feedback, in which case I can adapt. The quicker I realize I'm going in the wrong direction. Fail quickly? You heard that? So here's my gift to you. I'm going to tell you the future. Future number one. Governance is here to stay. I am not saying governance should be less. What I am saying is governance needs to be stronger. Do you think that people are going to, the media are going to be more vocal or less vocal in the future? More. They are, aren't they? Therefore, do you think we need to be stronger, or are we going to be weaker? We need to be stronger. But we need to be smarter, not just bigger. Does everyone get that? It needs to be smarter. So it's like a steel thread that we start building. So governance needs to be here. Number one, we are living through an era of more intense regulation and a more intense scrutiny. What is acceptable today will not be acceptable tomorrow. We need to go from 95 to 99.99%. Wow. And if you're in the Agile industry right now and you're into Scrum, that should scare you, because that's more towers, that's more blockers. So you have a responsibility to help your company. It's part of who we are. Education. Number two. Do you think we are going to be faster over the bridge? Do you think competition is going to increase, or is it going to decrease? What do you think? It's going to increase, isn't it? Do you think you're going to be under pressure to get your products out the door quicker? Yes, you are. So now we've got an interesting conundrum. I want you to be really, really safe. I want you to be really, really fast. Bang. Wow. Okay. No presentation is complete without a Steve Jobs quote. Customers don't measure you on how hard you've tried. They measure you on what you deliver. That's how we get measured. Working software. It's what we live by. Got to get over the bridge quicker. Number 3. Disruptors are here to stay. And they're getting bigger. And they're getting more powerful. And your job is to realize that you are a fish, that you are swimming in water, and that you may only see a little piece, but there's a lot bigger issues going on in your company. And it's that leadership role of helping your company evolve. Number 4, DevOps is here to stay. DevOps is your best friend. Continuous integration, automated testing. It has to be your best friend. I don't think we talk enough about DevOps at Agile conferences, do you? Yeah, this should be part and parcel of what. It's not just how we deliver or the way we deliver, it's the underpinning of how we deliver and the quality. We don't speak about it enough. Number 5. Many companies that we know today are not going to be here tomorrow. The way I look upon it, it's almost like, and please, I hope I can articulate this. My competitor who evolves and who realizes that then things need to change is a stronger competitor than he was yesterday. Because that's quite important. So it's almost like looking at Superman. I look at Superman and he looks like a normal person. But underneath, he's Superman. So my competitor looks like, oh, it's still my competitor, but he's not. He's now a super competitor because he's got startup mentality. He's got it, get it out the door quickly mentality, and he's sorted himself out in terms of the process. And here's number 6, which I think as a thought, leadership idea, it may take you to another level. Gartner, do you know Gartner at all? They're one of the world's leading research companies. They said, and I quote, Agile is the fastest growing development methodology in the world. It is estimated that in 2 years, Agile will account for 80% of all development projects. But they said that in 2013. What happened? I don't know about you, but we're not 80%. We're not 80%. We're not nowhere near that yet. So what happened? Version 1 do a fantastic survey. I think many of you subscribe to it every year. I look forward to it coming in. Version 1 asked that question. What are the challenges? Why are companies not adopting Agile? Why are we not there? And look at some of these, some of these issues that they say. Company philosophy of culture is at odds with core Agile values. In other words, I want documentation. Lack of management support. I know Waterfall. It's what I grew up with. I don't know this Agile stuff, and I'm a wee bit scared of it. General organization resistance to change. 1 in 10 of my people are involved with governance. I'm not going to break down my governance. Pervasive of traditional development. Well, that's just Waterfall. and 15% regulatory compliance and governance. And I put it to you as the argument that fish cannot see water. So I believe I cannot quite understand why we are not going faster. I can't quite understand why we are not doing agile projects and doing them more often, prevalent, having it as the default of our company. And I say to you, look around you, see the water, understand that this could be one of the biggest single issues why we are not expanding as a company, as a methodology, as a way of thinking. So my belief that is agile is about to go up the gears. I think we're about to get faster. If you're going to take a picture, this is a good one to take, by the way. I think that modern IT governance will be leaner, but stronger, like the steel thread. I think the race to the marketplace for all of us will accelerate and be quicker and faster. I think disruptors are here to stay. I think DevOps will be part and parcel of who you are and what you do. I think companies will change those governance or fade away. They'll wake up as if they've been sleepwalking. And I believe that Agile is about to go through several gears. I wanted to find some proof for you. So I looked long and hard. And there's a big bank called ANZ. And it made an announcement 8 weeks ago. And it said, we are radically overhauling our product delivery. We are going to make the whole bank agile. We are going to move from 20% agile, and we are going to go to try and make it a much higher figure. It talked about 80%, even 100%. And then it talked about it is also going to decommission 44 applications to reduce the risk of complexity. The revolution is beginning. So what is it? Is your corporate governance, is it evolution? Well, I think we've had the evolution. I think we've had the layer upon layer of governance. I think we've had that evolution, and I now think that we had that revolution. I think the disruptors have made us change. We have to change. We have to snap out of the sleepwalk. We have to realize where we are. So I caught up with Peter Thomas, who said, call the police and call the ambulance and all that. And I said to Peter, how is it for you 3 years on? And he goes, Stu, when we go to production, it's boring. It just happens. We just do it. Governance is baked in. Governance is part of our DNA. So now, when I'm running big projects, I look at the door with one weary eye. But this time, it's not being scared that governance is going to come through. It's about being scared that governance is not going to come through. Because I know that if we are going to be successful, I need governance to walk through that door. I need governance standing right beside me. The two of us as part of my Agile project, side by side. Because I know that's the only way that we're going to be successful for the future. So I urge you all, please go back to your offices. Please take what I've been saying, because I'm, as we are, you can tell, pretty passionate about this. And I think you've got an opportunity as leaders and as thought leaders to help your company make that change, or at least help them, and the new responsibilities that we take on. I'm hugely excited. I think that we might have just found that next level of how we are going to take Agile up to 80%. I still think we've got issues. I think we've got issues on scaling. I think we've got issues on distributed teams. But I think this could be a massive leap forward. So ladies and gentlemen, think about what you can do in 2 days' time when you go back. Because I think the revolution has begun. Thank you very much.